Right, your brother's the only responsible one here, Dad announced proudly across the dinner table, as if declaring a family verdict. I set my fork down slowly, smiled, and said, Perfect. Then he can start covering your $600 car payment. My brother's smirk cracked like glass. His fingers froze around his drink. Car payment? What car? He stammered. I didn't bother answering. I just let the silence do it for me. You never take responsibility for anything, Alex! Dad's voice cut through the dining room like shattered glass. The table was still set. Half-eaten roast, wine glasses, and a silence that wasn't peaceful. Mom's eyes darted between us, the way she always did when she wanted to look protective but didn't dare speak. Across from me, my brother Carter leaned back in his chair, wearing that satisfied half-smirk, the one that always showed up when I got blamed. Dad jabbed his fork in my direction. Your brother's the only responsible one here, he declared proudly, as if announcing a family verdict. I set my fork down slowly, forcing a calm. I didn't feel perfect, I said quietly. Then he can start covering your $600 car payment. Carter's smirk cracked. Car payment? What car? He stammered, his voice catching. I didn't bother answering. The silence did it for me. Sharp, heavy, final. And that was the moment everything in this family started to rot out loud. My name's Alex Monroe. 26. The quiet one. The one who fixes problems no one notices until they break. I've spent years paying bills my parents forgot existed, patching holes Carter dug, and pretending it didn't hurt when they thanked him instead of me. But silence isn't peace. It's slow suffocation. I learned to swallow my anger until it tasted like steel. And now, as they argued about who's responsible, all I could think was, they have no idea what's coming. The family snapshot. Carter, 28, loud, charming, careless. The kind of guy who wrecks a car and gets sympathy for the bruises. Mom, Elise Monroe, used to be gentle, before worry turned her soft voice into whispers. She always sided with Dad, not because she agreed, but because arguing with him exhausted her. Dad, Richard, the provider, the man who never stopped reminding us what we owed him. He built this house and this hierarchy. To them, Carter was the golden boy, always trying his best. I was the quiet disappointment. That night, as Carter laughed off my car payment remark, Dad glared. Don't be petty, Alex. You know we helped you plenty over the years. Helped me. They sold my first car to pay for Carter's DUI lawyer. But I smiled anyway. Yeah, I said, you really did. Something in Mom's face flickered. Guilt, maybe, but she stayed silent. After dinner, I overheard them in the kitchen, whispers slicing through the clatter of dishes. Dad, we'll tell him next week. He doesn't need to know yet. Mom, Richard, it's his right too. Dad, he'll only complicate it. I should have left. Instead, I stood in the hallway, every muscle frozen. I knew that tone. I'd heard it before every time a decision was made without me. Later that night, I found the envelope on the counter. Property division agreement. The house, fully in Carter's name. No discussion. No warning. Just signatures. I stared at it until my eyes burned. They were already dividing the pieces of a life I'd helped pay for. And all I could think was, not this time. The next night, I confronted them in the living room. Why is the house in Carter's name? Dad didn't even flinch. Because he's staying. You're not. You have your own life. My own life? I laughed quietly. I've been paying the mortgage for 4 years. Carter shifted. Bro, it's not a big deal. You don't even live here full time. That's because you moved your girlfriend into my room, I said. His smirk vanished. Mom's voice broke in softly. Alex, please don't start. I turned to her. You let them take everything I built, and you call that peace. For a second, the mask slipped. She looked ashamed. Then she said the line she always used to make it disappear. You're overreacting. I smiled, slow and sharp. Not yet. 3 years ago, Dad's business almost went under. He called me in the middle of the night, said he needed $10,000 just until next quarter. I was still working 2 jobs back then, sleeping in my car between shifts. I wired him everything I had. A month later, he bought Carter a new truck. He called it a reward for being supportive. That night, I sat in that same car, engine off, staring at my phone. No thank you, no payback. Just silence. That's when I learned family doesn't always mean fairness, and I promised myself, one day they'll know exactly what that silence cost. A week after the dinner fight, Dad called a family meeting. Same table, same chairs. But this time, I was ready. He announced proudly, "We've finalized the transfer. Carter's handling the estate now." I nodded. "You sure that's wise, considering his record?" Dad's jaw tightened. "He's changed." I slid my phone across the table, the screen glowing with a document. Joint account withdrawal record. Carter froze. "Where'd you get that?" "From the same email where Dad sent you the house paperwork," I said. "Turns out, when you use my social security number to open a co-signing account, it alerts me." The room went still. Mom gasped. "You did what, Carter?" Carter's lips trembled. "It was Dad's idea." I turned to him calm. And that's the truth I was waiting for. Everything collapsed at once. Mom crying, Dad shouting, Carter begging. I sat there, silent, letting years of blame bounce off me like rain on steel. "I gave you my savings, my credit, my silence," I said quietly. "And you turned it into debt and lies." Dad tried to stand. "Don't twist this, Alex." "No," I said. "You twisted it the day you taught me that family means debt, not love." Mom's sobs filled the space where all our unspoken things lived. For the first time, I didn't comfort her. I let her feel it. By morning, the house was quiet. Carter was gone. Dad locked in his office. Mom pacing, murmuring apologies to walls. I packed my duffel bag. No drama, no goodbye, just closure. As I reached the door, Mom appeared, eyes swollen. "Alex, please don't go like this." I smiled faintly. "There's no other way, Mom." Her hand trembled on my arm. "What will you do now?" "Start over," I said, "without owing anyone anything." She nodded, then whispered, "You were always the good one, Alex. We just didn't see it." "I know," I said softly. "That's why it hurt." 2 months later, new apartment. Cheap, quiet, sunlit. Freedom felt strange, like air I wasn't sure I deserved. Sometimes I'd check my phone, expecting one of them to call. They didn't. But one morning, I got a letter, no return address. Inside, a check. The same amount I'd given Dad years ago. No note, just the number. I stared at it for a long time before tearing it in half. Forgiveness doesn't always look like reunion. Sometimes it's just choosing not to carry their weight anymore. And that's the thing about silence. It isn't weakness. It's patience sharpening itself into truth. I stayed quiet for years, not because I was scared, but because I was waiting for the right moment to speak. So tell me, if you were in my place, would you forgive? Or would you walk away forever? Your voice matters here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you've ever carried someone else's burden in silence. Because sometimes letting go is the loudest thing you'll ever do.